Hi, I welcome you to this video session, in which we will try to understand the admission process for MBA programs offered by best of business schools in India. Please take care that the targeted audience for this video session is a fresh graduate who does not still have work experience and those students who are still pursuing graduation and are interested in doing a stereotypical 2-year MBA program from a good business school in India. If you are interested in pursuing a global MBA or an international MBA from overseas, then we have a separate video session for that named as Top Global MBA Programs Across the World and Their Admission Process. Now, in order to understand the admission process for MBA programs offered by Indian business schools, we need to have some background information first. So, the agenda for this session is to look at what are the various careers in the field of business management, what is an MBA program, what are various types of MBA programs and business schools in India, the multiple-stage admission process for an MBA program, various written exams to be taken, and we will go into details of the most important entrance exams, group discussions, case studies, personal interview and other personality tests. Finally, we will go into details of how to prepare for Iim Cat and other exams and the timelines to be taken care of if we want selection in a good business school. The Indian economy is thriving, as compared to the rest of the world. Since 1991, India and China are growing so fast economically that they have become the economic engines of the rest of the world. The effectiveness of business managers and progressive policies of the government have been responsible for this growth. The stage has come where you can get a high-paying job even before you step out of a business school. Management is the top-paying career today. Salary figures give you a lowdown on the career options that'll pay you the best. If you do an MBA program from a top institution such as the Indian Institutes of Management, then you can easily expect a starting salary package of Rs 22 lakh per annum in Indian placements and Rs 1.02 crore, $153,568 in international placements. The entry-level salary is expected to go up even more. Also, salaries differ according to the industry. Today, the finance sector offers huge sums and has crossed the earlier darling of MBAs, the FMCG sector. Those salary matters but do not give more importance to compensation than your interest. Know your strengths and capability before deciding to work. Also, while the salary may not be attractive today but it could reach a new height tomorrow. So remember, you will always get the highest growth in the area you are passionate about and not the one that is giving the biggest salary packages today. The best feature of management as a career is that there is something for everyone here. Depending on your interests and personality, there is always some area of management that will perfectly suit you. If you are an extrovert, party animal who gets his energy from people and you have a knack for understanding what makes people tick, so you can handle people easily, then marketing and sales is an area of management that you can easily excel in. Similarly, there are many other areas for you to specialize and make a name for yourself such as finance, strategy, human resources, systems and operations, information systems, and many more. If these specific fields do not make the fire rise in you, then you could do a general MBA program, which actually gives you a holistic idea of all these fields and how they connect to each other, and you would be poised on the road to becoming the CEO of a company. An MBA is a 2-year-long academic course in which you are taught various areas of business such as finance, marketing, accounting, human resources, strategy and operations management to develop your holistic business sense. In addition to developing strong technical skills, managers were expected to possess a range of soft skills such as the ability to influence people, negotiate effectively, manage interfaces with other departments, negotiate with individuals from all walks of life, manage their own career in the newly complicated job environment, and more. Managers are now expected to have a broad perspective and must know how each part of the company fits with the other parts, how the company competes, and how it should compete. The disappearance of much of middle management means that, even at what were once junior positions in a company, This sort of knowledge is becoming more and more critical. It is all the more important in smaller organizations, startups, and entrepreneurial ventures, which are responsible for more and more employment. This increased complexity has made advanced managerial education much more necessary than it was in the past. Thus, the educational key to managerial success is getting an MBA that both trains you well in your chosen field and is of the highest possible reputation. This does not mean that everyone needs an MBA, but there are a host of people who sensibly view it as a major stepping stone to career success. The MBA is a very flexible degree, which can serve either to broaden your knowledge of business or develop your knowledge of a particular function, such as finance, strategy, marketing, operations, etc. Therefore, it is often viewed as having something for everyone. Whatever personality type you have, MBA always has a function or a discipline that you can relate to. In terms of academics, an MBA can be of two types: general MBA and super specialized MBA. General MBA programs teach you all management subjects the first year to develop a business foundation, and in second year, you can take a few extra courses in one area to specialize in it. On the other hand, super specialized MBA programs may similarly develop a business foundation in first year and later focus on a super specialization. Example is postgraduate program in agribusiness management or PGPABM offered by IIM Ahmedabad, or may compromise on business foundation courses and spend an inordinate focus on just the super specialization. Example postgraduate diploma in manufacturing management or PGDMM offered by NITI Mumbai. There is no fine dividing line between general MBA programs and super specialized MBA programs, except that after general MBA programs, you still have the freedom to change your domain during your career, while a super specialized MBA program does not give you the freedom to change domains. So super specialized MBA programs are recommended only for those students who are passionate about a super specialized domain or for those whose academic background gives them an edge in a related domain, say a postgraduate diploma in manufacturing management, PGDMM, offered by National Institute of Industrial Engineering, NITI Mumbai, is specifically for first-class engineers. There are various options when you have to decide on an MBA program. If you are a high achiever, then look for quality of the MBA program, and only the top 25 business schools can offer that. For this you will have to work hard and get selected in the most competitive of business schools. Otherwise, compromise on quality of business school and select whatever is the best offered to you. If you are looking at duration, then normally an MBA program is for 2 years, though a 1-year MBA program is offered by ISB. If you are working and do not want to leave your job and still do an MBA program, then you do a part-time MBA program which may take 3 years. If you are looking at developing a holistic business perspective and rise to the level of CEO of the end companies, then doing a general MBA program is better than a super specialized MBA. Though if you want to develop a true global business perspective, then you will have to move out of India to a premier global business school such as IMD Switzerland, a Yale or a Stanford, etc. Though ISB Hyderabad offers a 1-year program geared towards developing a holistic global business perspective, still this program lacks the necessary diversity needed in the peer group, which is an integral requirement of the peer learning and the case approach needed to develop a holistic global business perspective. In order to get a sense of the best business schools in our country, students normally try to take help from rankings of business schools in India. Still, the rankings of business schools have to be treated with a lot of caution, as different business school rankings use different set of parameters and differ in the weightage assigned to each parameter. The rankings create a lot of confusion for a student who is trying to zero in on a set of business schools to apply to. Moreover, ranking organizations have different agenda and motives. For example, magazines and newspapers normally end up giving higher ranking to business schools who cooperate during the ranking process and those who have given the ranking organization a lot of advertising revenue. Moreover, there is another important, albeit highly unofficial ranking that provided by word of mouth and received wisdom. Whereas some people would refer to the specific rankings of a school in one or another guide, others would take into account the traditional ranking of a school, which often amounts to a combination of the fame of the parent university of the business school, the ranking of the business school in the past, and the fame of the school in the local area. This adds a lot of subjectivity to the rankings, so here we are not trying to rank schools, nor to place a certain school on a list of top schools and relegate another school to the list of also rans. Instead of getting into the subjective debate on ranking all top Indian business schools, we have put them into clusters 1, 2, and 3 where cluster 1 is better than cluster 2 and so on. Cluster 1 has a total of 11 business schools, which are considered the best in India. Starting with the Iim A, B, C, L, I and K followed by MDI Gurgaon, SP Jain, Nidhi, FMS and Narsi Manji. You can pause the video at this stage if you want to note down something. Cluster 2 has 14 business schools. You can pause the video at this stage if you want to note down something. Cluster 3 has 39 business schools. You can pause the video at this stage if you want to note down something. To do an MBA program, you need 4 things. The qualifications needed are a graduate degree with at least 50% marks. You should have crossed 21 years of age. But schools can have their own specific qualification needs, so please refer to the website of the business school before you proceed ahead. Though, the minimum qualification needed to do an MBA is a graduation in any discipline. It is still advised that picking up a work experience of 2 to 3 years after your graduation will help you benefit from an MBA program better. Doing an MBA after picking up work experience will help you understand your MBA courses better, and recruiting corporates will also feel more confident in entrusting you with a more responsible role along with a really high salary package. So work experience before an MBA will result in steeper growth in your career. As we talked about in an earlier part, there are 7 national level exams that you need to give so that you can choose the best options when you get a great score in them. You need to have the money to pay for your MBA program, which can range from 4 to 15 lakh in tuition fee and a corresponding living charge for 2 years, depending on the MBA program you join. Last but not the least, a lot of motivation is required to do the hard work required to prepare and get selected in the best business schools. Once you get selected, the MBA program is very demanding, but you will get used to working hard when you see your peers working harder and excelling. Once the MBA is over, your brain will have been hardwired for hard work and it will all be smooth sailing after the MBA. If you are a high achiever, then you will have to choose between 7 exams. Depending on your priorities, you will take some or all of these 7 exams. The exams are Iim Cat, ZET, SNAP, IBSAT, IRMA, NMAT, and IIFT exams. These exams start in the month of August and stretch over the next 3 months. You can pause the video at this stage if you want to note down something. The motive of the selection process by a business school is to check whether a student can handle the rigors of an academically challenging MBA program and whether the student as well as the business school will benefit from the association. The selection process has a 3-phased approach, comprising of an aptitude test or written test, and a sequence of 2 personality tests. The first personality test is usually done in a group format while the second personality test is done at an individual level. The aptitude test or the written test is in fact not a selection but rejection process. Student quality control is imposed at this stage by testing their mental ability, hence a sizable number of candidates are denied to go through to the next round. The test generally focuses on testing verbal, quantitative and reasoning skills and includes questions on reading and comprehension, language proficiency, numerical ability, data analysis, data sufficiency, critical reasoning, logical reasoning, psychological aspects, general knowledge and general business environment. The first personality test taken is also an elimination stage to weed out the high number of applicants. This first personality test can be a group discussion, case study, presentation and extempore, etc. Interpersonal skills, communication skills, emotional intelligence, social intelligence, and skills important for group dynamics that were not tested in the aptitude test get tested in these personality tests. The second and final personality test is a selection process and is always a personal interview, PI. The parameters tested here are communication skills, interpersonal skills, motivation, confidence, etc. Now, we will look at the Iim Cat and the other 6 national-level business school exams. We will start with details of Iim Cat, because Iim Cat is not only an exam that attracts the greatest number of aspirants and is required for the best business schools in India, but Iim Cat also has a syllabus on which most other exams are designed. Most of the syllabus of the Iim Cat is common to other exams, and some of the exams may just have an extra focus on an Iim Cat subject or a variation of Iim Cat subjects. The Iim Cat is an aptitude test for admission to an MBA program. An aptitude test is a modified intelligence quotient test or an IQ test to check whether a candidate has the desired potential and attitude for pursuing a certain academic course. The Iim Cat is an aptitude test for admission to an MBA program, so apart from testing your intelligence, Iim Cat is also molded to test whether you can handle an academically challenging MBA program, excel in it and benefit from an MBA program. Scientists believe that intelligence at the time of birth depends on nutrition and heredity, that is, the genes from parents. If your parents are intelligent, then you would be born intelligent. But this is not the whole story. After birth, your intelligence keeps on increasing fast because you use your brain. As you use your brain more and more, your brain becomes a well-oiled machine and gets sharper. So, you need an environment which propels you to use your brain and become more intelligent. Such an environment is called an enabling environment. This enabling environment ensures that we have reasons to use our brain more and become more intelligent. Moreover, scientists have observed that intelligent people have a tendency to seek enabling environments that would make them sharper. So it is a reciprocal relationship also. The role of nutrition and balanced diet with intelligence is also important. For example, people who lack the required amount of iodine in their diet become progressively less intelligent. So, keep an eye on what you eat or drink also. Every IQ test measures 4 broad areas: language skills, mathematical proficiency, reasoning ability, and hallmarks of intelligence. Psychologists who design and analyze IQ tests are called psychometricians. These psychometricians believe that learning a language is such a difficult task for the brain that as you learn language, your brain is used more and it becomes sharper, so proficiency in a language becomes an indicator of sharpness of brain. So testing of language abilities is part of every IQ test. The presence of verbal ability section on the Iim Cat is a manifestation of this belief. Verbal ability section has questions based on English language proficiency, such as reading comprehension, English grammar, English usage, vocabulary, parajumbles or para-anagrams, etc. The psychometricians also believe that mathematics is a difficult subject and becoming proficient in mathematics makes the brain a well-oiled machine. IQ tests are not focusing on subject knowledge of mathematics, prove geometric theorems, remember fancy formulas, or your ability to handle long calculations, so the mathematics appearing on IQ tests does not check for difficult mathematics concepts and long calculations. What appears on an IQ test in place of mathematics is given a different name and is called as quantitative ability or quantitative reasoning. It checks easier math concepts and easier calculation ability. Though, questions on the quantitative reasoning sections have confusing and tricky language that encourages you to make silly mistakes. The standard syllabus academically is arithmetic, algebra, geometry, and modern mathematics. The questions can be designed in the form of problem solving, data interpretation and data sufficiency. We will look at all of this in detail later. Reasoning is a third tested area on IQ tests. Now, reasoning may not have been taught to you in your school or college, unless you did philosophy majors, but it does not mean that you have not learned reasoning. Rather, reasoning is the first subject we study immediately after birth. For example, human babies are capable of doing just a few things after birth. They can barely move their hands and legs. They can suckle milk, shit in their nappies, and they can expel air out of their tiny lungs while exhaling with a sound called as crying by adults. But, human babies are so smart that within the first day on this earth they realize that crying has a lot of magic, it gets them a lot of attention. They are hugged, caressed and rocked. They are offered food and taken care of. So, they start using the trick of crying, and when a baby has a tummy ache, is hungry, feeling hot, cold or uncomfortable, has soiled its nappies, or even if it feeling bored, then it will cry and magic happens. There is always some slave to dance to its needs, whims and fancies. This crying is the first reasoning lesson we all learn. It's important for our survival, and is an example of reasoning skills being developed. So what is this reasoning? The answer is reasoning involves taking in information and making a decision based on it. Say, if you are hungry and you decide to eat food, or on feeling thirsty, you look for water, then you are already good at a fancy area of reasoning called as deductive logic. The only thing left now is that you may not have seen is how reasoning is tested through certain type of questions, so that's what exposure to the various types of questions and their practice is for. You can attempt questions to see where are we thinking incorrectly, and subsequently you can correct ourselves on that kind of a problem. You will realize that you may make mistakes in understanding the information given in questions, but do not make mistakes in converting that information into the right decisions. Hallmarks of Intelligence is a covert issue tested on IQ tests. Remember that Iim Cat is an IQ test modified to the requirements of the MBA admission process. Certain questions test whether you behave like a really intelligent person with an IQ above a 150. Really intelligent people with an above-average IQ have a certain different way of thinking and approach problems in a different manner. For example, such intelligent people use a sequential objective method to reach a conclusion or a decision. This sequential objective method is required in questions of critical reasoning. Such intelligent people understand the concept of picking answers according to needs of scope and relevance to the argument. Such intelligent people understand the importance of evidence-based reading comprehension and keep away from extrapolation and inductive logic. They also have a tendency to look for symmetry in constructing their sentences and keep away from politically incorrect or extreme language. They also do not rely on their memory and have an inclination for doing scratch work or rough work to calculate their answer accurately. Moreover, they use different strategies to do different kinds of questions. Actually, a question can be attempted by many methods, and the method which ensures that you take least amount of time and with least chance of making a silly or a technical mistake is called as its strategy. For example, they convert algebra questions into an arithmetic language to crack them. But in case of word problems, intelligent people convert arithmetic language into algebraic language to solve the questions effectively. If you do not do all these things automatically, you will have to learn them. We can help you in learning these hallmarks of intelligence. Moreover, as success in MBA programs need proficiency in ability to comprehend difficult instructions and data interpretation, so these abilities are also tested on the Iim Cat. If you look at it holistically, then, on the Iim Cat, you are tested at 3 different levels. At the first level, a certain threshold of knowledge is required and tested. This is part of testing of crystallized intelligence, a knowledge-based ability that is very dependent on education and experience. This could be comprised of certain concepts that you would already know and others which you will have to learn right from scratch. If I talk about data analysis topics in quantitative ability section, then it requires that you have knowledge of basic descriptive statistics, such as mean, median, mode, range, standard deviation, interquartile range, quartiles and percentiles, interpretation of data in tables and graphs, such as line graphs, bar graphs, circle graphs, box plots, scatter plots and frequency distributions. Elementary probability, such as probabilities of compound events and independent events. Conditional probability. Random variables and probability distributions, including normal distributions. And counting methods, such as combinations, permutations and Venn diagrams. These topics are typically taught in high school algebra courses or introductory statistics courses. Similarly, if I talk about reading comprehension in verbal ability section, then it requires that you have the ability to identify the three broad categories of questions and the standard strategy to solve them, the specific questions, general questions and perception questions. And it's not that simple. The specific questions are of a further 6 types: vocabulary and context, line reference, specific detail, implied idea, multiple statement, and NELI type. Reading comprehension needs that you can read passages faster and understand them also. You have to be great at identifying what is a minor detail given as an example of the main focus of the passage and what is the general idea of the whole passage. The second level of testing on the Iim Cat is Hallmarks of Intelligence. Remember that Iim Cat is an IQ test modified to the requirements of the undergraduate college admission process. Certain questions test whether you behave like a really intelligent person with an IQ above a 150. Really intelligent people with an above-average IQ have a certain different way of thinking and approach problems in a different manner. For example, such intelligent people use a sequential objective method to reach a conclusion or a decision. This sequential objective method is required in critical reasoning. Such intelligent people understand the concept of picking answers according to needs of scope and relevance to the argument in critical reasoning questions. Such intelligent people understand the importance of evidence-based reading comprehension and keep away from extrapolation and inductive logic. They also have a tendency to look for symmetry in constructing their sentences and keep away from politically incorrect or extreme language. They also do not rely on their memory and have an inclination for doing scratch work or rough work to calculate their answer accurately. Moreover, they use different strategies to do different kinds of questions. Actually, a question can be attempted by many methods, and the method which ensures that you take least amount of time and with least chance of making a silly or a technical mistake is called as its strategy. For example, really intelligent people convert algebra questions into an arithmetic language to crack them. If you do not do all these things automatically, you will have to learn them. We can help you in learning these hallmarks of intelligence. The third level of testing on the Iim Cat is test-taking dynamics. After you have practiced on a lot of questions, and know how to crack them impeccably, it may still not translate into a perfect score. Because during the actual exam, performance anxiety encourages you to make mistakes. Moreover, you may not have the mental stamina to use your brain for a 3-hour-long test. Under test conditions, you make a greater number of silly mistakes because of 4 reasons. These are test anxiety, lower attention span, less stamina, and newer format of exam. Let's understand these 4 issues and their solutions. A. In terms of anxiety, just the thought that we are being tested causes butterflies in our stomach. This performance anxiety affects your scores badly. So work hard during preparation and then attempt as many simulated exams as possible. Your higher scores on the simulated exams will take care that you become immune to performance anxiety. B. Understand what is a lower attention span. You have an attention span of 15 to 30 minutes, but this is almost a 3-hour exam, so after the first 30 minutes, you feel like taking a break to perform better later, but you are not permitted to do this. To increase your attention span, get into the habit of using your brain continuously for longer stretches of time, without even taking a moment's break during your study. Learn to study without distractions such as your cell phone ringing or anyone barging into your room while you are studying. C. In terms of stamina, after an hour of testing, your brain gets tired and drained, so questions seem more difficult to understand and solve, leading to more mistakes. Here also the solution is to study for longer stretches of time, without taking breaks. Remember, you are preparing for a marathon and not a 100-meter dash. D. Lastly, as the Iim Cat has a different format of exam, so taking an online exam divided into several sections, where you can only work on one section in a stipulated time, works against your scores. The solution is attempting greater number of mock exams, 15 to be precise. This gives you a grip on Iim Cat testing and makes you immune to the pitfalls. Moreover, analysis of each test by the student followed by analysis by the teacher helps to identify the gray areas that need focus. The Iim Cat is 3-hour-long exam. The Iim Cat is a computer-based test which consists of 100 objective-type questions. There are 3 sections in the test: verbal and reading comprehension, data interpretation and logical reasoning, and quantitative ability. The quantitative ability and verbal and reading comprehension sections consist of 34 questions, whereas the data interpretation and logical reasoning section has 32 questions. Along with the objective-type questions, there are some non-multiple choice questions in each section. Candidates have to answer in the space provided to them. The total duration of the test is 180 minutes or 3 hours. However, each section of the test has a time limit of 1 hour each. The test takers cannot switch between the sections and have to attend the test in a particular order. The order of the sections is: verbal and reading comprehension appears first, then comes the data interpretation and logical reasoning section, and finally the quantitative ability section. The Common Admission Test, CAT, like virtually all large-scale exams, utilizes multiple forms, or versions, of the test. Hence there are 2 types of scores involved, a raw score and a scaled score. The raw score is calculated for each section based on the number of questions one answered correctly, incorrectly, or left unattempted. Candidates are given +3 points for each correct answer and -1 point for each incorrect answer. No points are given for questions that are not answered. There is no negative marking for the non-multiple choice questions. The raw scores are then adjusted through a process called equating. Equated raw scores are then placed on a common scale or metric to ensure appropriate interpretation of the scores. This process is called scaling. As per the marking scheme, each question carries 3 marks and there is negative marking of 1 mark for each wrong answer. 4 scaled scores will be presented for each candidate, an overall scaled score and 3 separate scaled scores for each section. As the 3 sections evaluate distinct sets of knowledge and skills, scores do not correlate across sections. A high score in one section does not guarantee a high score in another section. Percentile rankings are provided for each individual section as well as for the overall exam score. An ideal preparation for Iim Cat would entail several steps. I will also try to discuss variations of these steps depending on options you have and your context. No need to pause the video at this stage and lingering on it, as we are now going to look at all these steps in detail. We believe that an ideal test preparation should entail the following. The Iim Cat is a modified IQ test or an intelligence test, and even before you start your preparation, you have intelligence. Moreover, you already have an exposure of English language and you have done a lot of mathematics till high school. So you will definitely be good at certain areas tested on Iim Cat, while you may be rusty or weak at other areas. So, as a first step, we benchmark your performance by subjecting you to a simulated or mock test before starting your preparation. This simulated or mock test has to be exactly on the lines of the real exam and preferably an actual Iim Cat paper of previous years. This should be followed by an objective critical analysis from an expert teacher to comment on issues which may not be in public domain. This helps in giving a realistic idea about the level of hard work needed and timelines to be maintained during preparation. The next step is to understand the syllabus of the exam in detail and the various kind of questions that appear on the Iim Cat. You can take help from 2 websites, the official Iim Cat website, which carries a lot of details of the Iim Cat, but does not give the specifics of the syllabus in an understandable format, So to make sense of the syllabus in simple language, you can check links on the Ivy League website. You can pause the video at this stage to open these two websites in separate tabs on your browser. This slide tells you where to click on the desired link on the Ivy League website to get a clear idea of the syllabus of Iim Cat. Now, once you have understood the syllabus, comes the next stage of your preparation where you develop the knowledge and application base. You have to find the right set of books and a teacher who can make your learning challenging, comprehensive, engaging and fun. At this stage you have to decide whether you would like to do self-preparation for the Iim Cat, or do you need to take professional help by joining a test preparation institute. Both these methods have their own pros and cons, and ultimately, you have to take the responsibility of deciding between these two options. Remember, even if you decide on self-preparation for the Iim Cat, you still need to have a teacher who can clear your doubts and problems that you cannot solve yourself. During this stage, you work hard to understand concepts and formulas and how concepts are tested through the questions. As you attempt questions, you will realize that certain formulas and concepts are difficult to memorize, so you need to write them down for more revision and easy referral. The next stage is to identify question types and specific strategies. This also entails identifying each type of question that appears on the real exam and knowing how to crack it by using its specific strategy and procedure. When you practice on more questions, you will realize that the exam has several types of questions designed on each concept. For example, the concept of assumption on critical reasoning. An assumption can be of 4 types: common sense, simple causal, reverse causal, and dumb assumption. But, if all options are out of scope of argument, then you have to choose an out-of-scope answer, which has to be relevant to the argument. So 4 multiplied with the 2 options of being in scope or out of scope gives you 8 types of possible question designs in assumption questions. Moreover, business arguments even require presupposed knowledge of some concepts such as revenue, actual profit, sales, etc. This makes a total of 9 types of questions that can be designed on assumptions in critical reasoning. Apart from knowing the 9 types of assumption questions, you need to be good at identifying an assumption question when it appears on your screen. Presence of certain keywords in the question stems such as assumption, assumes, presupposes, presupposition, additional premise, unstated premise, hidden premise, follows, described above cannot be true unless which of the following were true, must be true, etc. helps in identifying an assumption question, and you need to mug up these keywords. Now each question can be solved by several methods, and the particular method which takes least amount of time and effort along with having least chance of you making a silly mistake is called a strategy for that question type. So although assumption questions can be solved by various methods, still the CRA method, where you identify conclusion and reasons and then calculate out the assumptions underlying the argument, keeping scope and relevance in perspective, is called as the strategy for the assumption questions. The point which I am trying to make here is that, if we just talk about one part of your syllabus, that is assumptions, then you need to be good at identifying its 9 types of questions, knowing and applying the strategy for each of them. The big task is to do the same for all topics in your syllabus. Now you polish yourself by practicing on question banks, which should have all representative questions and an exhaustible number of questions. This will point out any issues left in solving of all types of possible questions. Then clear the concepts with your teacher on each and every question on which you make a mistake and cannot realize what went wrong. Try to identify concepts that you tend to forget, and identify questions where you tend to make mistakes. Learn from your mistakes. Practice questions under a time constraint to decrease your response time to handle questions. Your accuracy dips down as you work faster, so work on it. And take progressive tests having multiple topics. This will make you more comfortable with what's going to happen on the test. After you have attained a certain level of expertise, Start taking mock exams to understand test dynamics and how a complete exam affects your accuracy and performance. Issues such as lower accuracy when you attempt a multiple subject and multiple topic test, shorter attention span, low stamina to use brain actively for 4 hours, test anxiety and nervousness, etc. should be identified. Take more tests and address whatever problems you have. Keep doing mid-course corrections in your preparation based on mock test performance and analysis. Mock tests can have a toll on your nerves. Keep yourself cool, upbeat and objective. Visualize yourself responding to case studies at your dream school, when you get bugged or tired. Be clear about the dynamics of the test day and be completely prepared for it, in terms of what to wear, proctoring procedures, test center procedures, documents to carry to the test center, what to do if you suffer a test irregularity, breaks during the test and how you can use them to your advantage, what to eat or drink before the test, etc. We had initially talked about a set of 7 national-level MBA entrance exams that you should be targeting. Iim Cat syllabus is the most comprehensive and it is also the exam with the biggest number of seats, so take Iim Cat as your primary target. Other exams have almost the same syllabus with a slightly different frequency of questions per topic and a different weightage assigned to the topics tested. Some other exams may have a new area that is not tested on Iim Cat. So let us look at other exams in detail. Xavier Aptitude Test for admission to XLRI and 147B schools across India is considered to be one of the toughest MBA entrance exams. Approximately 90,000 candidates write XAT every year. The exam was conducted on January 8, 2017. The exam authorities do not declare the official syllabus of XAT, but based on the past year's pattern, we present to you the XAT 2017 syllabus. Please check the official notification for finer details. Apart from Paper 1, which has verbal and logical ability, decision-making, quantitative ability and data interpretation, Paper 2 has general knowledge and an essay. SNAP covers admissions to the Symbiosis group of business schools. It has questions based on verbal ability, quantitative aptitude, analytical and logical reasoning and current affairs. The ICFI Business School, Hyderabad has prescribed the syllabus for IBSAT. IBSAT has no official syllabus for candidates appearing in IBSAT 2016. On the basis of the analysis and trends of past years, here we share section-wise IBSAT 2016 syllabus, verbal ability. This section covers English usage part. Questions asked in this section include vocabulary, English usage, English grammar, replace the missing words and para-jumble. Reading comprehension. This section is very easy to attempt. The section covers 3 reading comprehension passages from which the questions are asked. The number of questions asked in this section is 25. The questions asked in this section are direct in nature and seek factual answers. Quantitative ability. The level of difficulty in this section is moderate. The number of questions asked to the candidates in this section is 25. The quantitative ability section covers various topics including number system, profit and loss, discount, average, time and work, percentage, geometry, mensuration, probability, permutation and combination, coordinate geometry, arithmetic progression and algebra. Data sufficiency and data interpretation. This section covers topics like data interpretation, data sufficiency and logical reasoning. The number of questions asked to examine in this section is 25. The IRMA has a total of 200 questions and the candidates will be given 2 hours, that is 120 minutes, to complete the test. These questions will be divided into 4 sections. Analytical reasoning, English comprehension, quantitative ability, and issue of social concern. Issues of social concern is considered as an important part of the exam and essential for the course. No other test will have a section like this one. Questions in this section will be based on various topics, therefore, The candidates must understand how these questions are designed. Check the syllabus for this section to get a better picture here. Millennium Development Goals, Human Development, HDI and its achievements by India. Issues arising from the social and economic exclusion of large sections from the benefits of development such as poverty and inequality, poverty levels, poverty line, disparities in income, employment and literacy by rural-urban background, and gender and social groups like caste and religion. The Indian economy and issues relating to India's national income and its composition, per capita income, etc. Right to information. Issues relating to good governance and accountability to the citizens including the maintenance of human rights, and of probity in public life. Agriculture in India, crop and livestock production systems. Health issues including the management of public health, health education, and ethical concerns regarding health care. 5-year plan goal, planning in India, targets and strategies. Rural poverty alleviation and development programs goals. Features and major achievements, Green Revolution, Operation Flood, NREGA, ICDS, EA, SSA, and NRHM. Environmental issues, ecological preservation, conservation of natural resources. Internal security, Naxalism, and related issues such as the preservation of communal harmony. These questions will check the candidate's knowledge about the national and international scenarios and social relevance. It will also check the candidate's ability to analyze and put their views on such issues. MAT syllabus for language skills consists of language structure skills and reading comprehension. Candidates will have to answer 32 questions within a time span of 22 minutes. Important topics to cover under this section: language usage and their rules, parajumble, anonyms, syntax and correct grammar, vocabulary, fill in the blanks, idioms, reading comprehension, synonyms. MAT syllabus for quantitative skills. In this section, the quantitative ability of candidates is tested. Candidates will have to answer 48 questions within a time span of 60 minutes. This section will have questions related to topics like data interpretation, problem solving and data sufficiency. Problem solving part will include questions from arithmetic, geometry, modern math, algebra and number systems. MAT syllabus for logical reasoning. In logical reasoning section of MAT 2017 exam, candidates will have to attempt questions related to family tree, arrangement, numeric grid, coding and series. Besides logical reasoning section, candidates will have to answer questions related to decision-making and verbal skills. MAT by GMAC will be conducted in a 75-day-long window starting in October. As per IFT 2016 exam pattern, the test consists of sections namely General Knowledge and Awareness, English Comprehension, Logical Reasoning and Quantitative Analysis. The number of questions is expected to be around 120 and will follow a differential marking scheme. The total marks will be 100. The negative marking scheme for wrong questions will be 1/3 of the allotted marks. It is mandatory for the candidates to prepare for the test as per IFT 2016 syllabus to score better. The difficulty level of quantitative ability section is difficult and has around 25 questions to be answered by the candidates. With moderate difficulty, logical ability section consists of around 20 to 25 questions to be answered. The difficulty of data interpretation section is moderate and covers around 19 to 25 questions. Verbal ability section consists of 20 questions related to language and English vocabulary. General awareness is an important section in the IFT exam which consists around 25 questions to be answered by the candidates. The difficulty level of this section could be moderate and tough. Though the timelines that you need to stick to depend on you and whether you have load of work or college studies, and whether you are doing self-preparation or have joined a test preparatory institute. Still, your preparation has 3 broad steps: syllabus coverage, practice from question banks and learning test dynamics. The first step is to understand and master the syllabus, in terms of tested topics. So learn all concepts, formulas, methods and strategies to solve questions. If you are doing self-preparation, this can take about 2 to 3 months. So start preparation in March or April. Second step is to practice from question banks. For this you can buy question banks from bookstores or can use material from test prep institutes, which is also available in market. Spend a cool 2 months on practicing questions from question banks. The last step is to learn test dynamics by giving simulated exams or mock exams. A minimum of 15 mock exams have to be taken. The maximum could be any higher number, but do not take more than 3 mock exams in a week. All these 3 steps should get over in September, as MAT happens in mid-October, followed by IIFT on last Sunday of November, Iim Cat in last week of November, SNAP. In mid-December, IBSAT. On last Sunday of December, and finally XAT. On first Sunday of January. If you still have a few doubts about what to do next, then we can help you. You can get a lot of information from our website www.ivyleague.us.com. You can also address your queries to us. We would like to know you more, so that we can give you more informed and customized advice. We will need 4 inputs from you so that we can help you in a more informed and customized manner. 1. Your detailed resume. 2. List of any business schools and programs that you are interested in. 3. Your performance on the Iim Cat. Even if you have taken the Iim Cat before, we will subject you to a simulated or mock Iim Cat and give you a detailed report on your present status. Iim Cat test performance analysis. This helps in giving a realistic idea about the level of hard work needed and timelines to be maintained during preparation. 4. We will subject you to a psychometric test called As All About You. It has 5 subjective questions on which the business school interview questions are also based. Based on your responses to the exercise, we will give you a detailed report on your candidature to business schools termed as Initial Profile Assessment. This initial profile assessment is prepared by domain experts and comments upon how the interview panel will perceive your current profile and what changes in your profile can increase your chances of being selected by a good business school. After receiving your 4 inputs, senior members of our academic team and admissions team will resolve any doubts you have and discuss how we can help you. Please feel free to mail us your query and professional details by attaching an updated resume at mail@ivyleague.us.com.